Tonight's episode of ABCA At Home Perspectives is made possible by Pocket Radar. Pocket Radar's smart coach app system, with its unique ability to automatically capture videos with embedded velocities, allows coaches to stay connected and work remotely with current players and new recruits. Their Bring Your Training Home initiative will provide education and resources, including webinars and a limited time discount to help players remotely train, develop, and be seen at home with video analysis tools. Check out their 2020 Expo Theater presentation located in the ABCA Video Library.
One focus, one cue that forces you to simplify.
Toughness is a muscle. It's not a gene. You're not born with toughness.
Can I tell you the number one problem coaching anybody today? Everybody's offended.
You're the example for them. Look yourself in the mirror and go, am I giving these kids enough?
The only thing worse than being blind is having sight without vision.
When people start celebrating small things that occur on the field, the next thing you know, you get this small amount of energy, and then it just builds up. And the next thing you know, the environment, the energy in the environment that is created is very positive, and it's contagious, and it's very enthusiastic. And really, as a coach, that's what you want.
Welcome to the American Baseball Coaches Association's At Home Perspectives. The ABCA will be organizing and streaming live virtual coaching clinics featuring a different panel discussing a different element of the game every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. These clinics will be archived and available to watch on demand within the My ABCA mobile app and the Coaching Resource Library section of our website. Interact with us on Twitter. Send your questions to @ABCA1945 with the hashtag ABCAAtHome. Don't forget to include your name and rep your program. Since 1945, the ABCA has been bringing great coaching minds together to educate, mentor, guide, and support the greatest game in the world. Tonight is no exception, so grab your notebook and prepare to lock in for the next 90 minutes. We have a great conversation in store for you. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jim Richardson, and I will serve as your ABCA at-home host. Tonight's conversation is centered around the topic of culture, but more specifically, we intend to focus on how some of the most successful high school baseball coaches in the country built their programs and developed their culture. Now, there are a ton of different definitions out there, but culture is generally accepted to be the way we do things around here. In its most basic form, culture can be defined as your normal. As it pertains to a baseball team, culture is the collection of attitudes, beliefs, behaviors, and habits that define your program's uniform. Tonight, we have a phenomenal group of coaches lined up, and they're ready to share. With that, I'd like to have our panel go around the horn and introduce themselves.
I'm Butch Chaffin, Cookeville High School, Cookeville, Tennessee. Been a high school coach for 22 years, been in baseball for 34, 3 as a professional scout, 4 as a Division I assistant coach, and I've been with USA Baseball for 13 years.
My name is Todd Genke. I'm the head baseball coach in St. Charles, Illinois, and it's about 40 miles south of Chicago. So just to give you a reference point, I've been head coach in St. Charles for 16 years, been a high school coach for 19 years, and also was fortunate enough to play college baseball, and also I played 9 years professionally as a pitcher in the Philadelphia Phillies, Colorado Rockies, and various independent organizations as well. So I'm excited to be here, and it's an honor to be on this panel with these great coaches.
My name is Jimmy Harris. I'm from Stillwater High School. I'm the head baseball coach in Stillwater High School in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I've been coaching baseball for 20 years. I'm here with my family. I have a daughter, Ashton. This one, my baseball manager. My two boys. I got 11-year-old Jackson, or 12-year-old Jackson, 11-year-old Cooper, who's in the dugout with me every game, and then my wife, Lacey, who tonight we're spending our 20th year wedding anniversary. I'm on the ABCA Zoom right now with you guys, and we're a baseball family, and this is just what we do. It's not a big deal.
Nice.
I'm Adam Moseley from Hoover High School and in Hoover, Alabama. And Jimmy, I don't know I don't know how you talked your wife into that, but that's awesome. That says a lot. We probably ought to get into that, how you develop that kind of relationship as we go. But I've coached baseball this will be my 21st year coming up. This will be my 7th year here at Hoover, and coached baseball, USA baseball for now 6 years, and been on the national team staff a couple times. And I'm married as well, got 3 daughters, and I love getting to spend time with them, but I also love getting to spend time with guys like y'all.
My name is Tim Saunders. I'm the head coach at Dublin Kaufman High School in Dublin, Ohio. This is my 40th year of coaching. I started my first year of student teaching as an assistant coach. We got beaten in the state finals. I was lucky to be around some great coaches over the years, but had great opportunities as a coach with USA Baseball and with Perfect Game and Aflac All-American Series, different things. And to me, it just makes the game so much more fun to know people and be able to travel. So I've had a lot of experiences, and I've enjoyed every one of them.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. We're going to get right into it. First question, we'll kind of go around in the same order, alphabetically around the horn. We're always interested to find out who your coaching influences were and how they may have impacted your career, your philosophies, your methods, and can what you learned from them be seen in how you coach today? Is it still relevant? Butch, what do you think?
I think every coach I've had along the way has had a major impact. My Little League coach, Billy Joe Gentry, the guy knew nothing about baseball. He brought all the equipment and like a Vietnam gear bag, and he'd dump it out. And at the bottom of the bag were shin guards and a flat mitt. And then I was the first to jump on it, and he made me the catcher. And I'll be honest with you, when I got to college, I was really high school and college. I was disappointed we didn't get milkshakes after wins. And that dude used to pack us up and take us for milkshakes. But he taught me how to love the game, a game I already loved. He taught me how to love it. And then as I came on through, I had teammates, and I had several teammates go, "You should be a coach. You should be a coach." And I had several coaches go, "Why do you keep asking all these questions? Knock it off." And so I think I was destined to be a coach early on. But my high school coach, he taught me how to work. My junior college coach, one of them, Bill Gardner, at Walter State, he really put the strategy part in my brain and was great about it. My best friends are coaches. My coaching circle, the Nectons, man, I learn from them every day. And my players are a huge influence on me. I think sometimes I'll be driving home from games going, golly, those players are more mature than I am, or they know more than I do. And I learn from my players. And I think if you're not learning from your players, you're probably not paying attention.
Awesome. It's a good point. Coach Genke, who are your influences?
Well, first of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't say I've been married for 19 years as well, and I have 2 daughters, because when they watch this, if they don't hear that, I won't be married much longer. But, much like Coach Chaffin just said, to me, coaching is all about relationships, and I firmly believe that we have a large impact on our student athletes, and if you don't feel that way, you're obviously in the business for the wrong reasons. But I was very fortunate growing up just outside of Milwaukee. I had a Hall of Fame high school coach, Frank Benavides, who taught me a lot of things about just how to go about my business. How to be somebody that can be counted upon, somebody to be responsible. And I learned how to be a leader under his guidance. And I also was able to play for a guy by the name of Mike Hart, who played professionally, was in the big leagues actually with the Orioles for a few years. And again, he kind of taught me how you have to do things on your own. And one of my favorite quotes is, good players become great players when no one's watching. And he kind of just inspired me to learn how to do that. And then ultimately, I was fortunate again to be able to play pro baseball. And I came across a guy by the name of Greg Hibbard, who pitched for both the White Sox and Cubs. And, he was my pitching coach. And he just, again, taught me how to be a professional, be around the game, be the first one to show up, be the last one to leave, and be a role model. And whether, I was a player or eventually a coach, I just felt like, I want to be an influence in this young man's life. And, they may not like the decisions I make on a daily basis, but overall, they're going to come back in 10 years and say, you know what, coach, you made a difference in my life. And, I think that's what we all aspire to be. And ultimately, again, I have a great staff. I'm very fortunate. I have 3 high school Hall of Famers on my staff. And, in fact, I was lucky enough to have Coach Richardson on my staff for a few years. And, again, I think you take little things from each one of your coaches. And it's important that I feel that everybody has a say in what we do. It's not just I'm the head coach and this is what we're doing. It's more of, a unilateral, hey, what do you guys think? What's your opinion on this? How should we change that? And I think guys appreciate that and want to be around people like that. So, and like Coach Chaffin said too, you learn a lot from your players. These kids have a lot of pressure on them these days, with the social media outlets and trying to figure out what they're going to do at the next level, if they can make it to the next level. And, sometimes you just got to say, hey, we need to enjoy the game. Ultimately it is the game at the end of the day. And again, I want to be around the game. I want to have fun, and I want to teach kids how to be accountable and responsible in their actions. And that's where culture really starts.
No doubt. Well said. Coach Harris, who are your influences?
I want to start off with my high school baseball coach. His name is Wayne Brown. I played at Broken Bow, Oklahoma, at Broken Bow High School, and he taught me to be tough, to be responsible. He taught me to be disciplined, and there's a lot of things in those areas that I still do today. I make my kids wear sleeves, and I don't know why, because they ask me, Coach, why do we have to wear it? It's 85 degrees, and I tell them, I don't know. My high school coach made me, so I'm making you. And so those are some of the things that he instilled in me. And the late Dick Birmingham from Springfield, Missouri, he took me under his wing my second year of coaching. I was at the Missouri. I'm from Arkansas. I was in Arkansas at the time, and I went to a Missouri High School Baseball Coaching Association clinic because that's the only place a clinic I could go to during that year. And he took me under his wing, and for the next several years, we became friends. And he would call me, and he would tell me his one-line jokes, and he taught me how to run a practice. He taught me a lot about hitting. Lance Wagner from Horatio, Arkansas, Horatio High School, he probably has poured the most into me he's taught me what relationships look like. He's the one that actually got me to come to my first ABCA convention in Philadelphia years ago. And he taught me the fundamentals of the game. He taught me how to coach the game and how to be a coach. And he taught me how to pour into to coaches. He was criticized with me back in the day when he would help me. And eventually he helped me where he obviously saw I needed help. And so he helped me. And we a few times beat them. And some of his assistants got frustrated about that. And his word that I'll never forget was, if I help him and his team's better, then we make baseball better. And that's what we want to do. And so those are one of the things he poured into me. Kirk Bach from Bryan, Arkansas. He's been a committee member on the ABCA as well. And he's poured into me a lot about team defense. And then the OSU baseball staff at Oklahoma State, and I'm in Stillwater where Oklahoma State's at. And so the holidays, Tom Holiday he comes and helps me with my bullpens all the time. Matt Holliday, before he joined OSU, he was my hitting coach for 1 year, and that was pretty good, by the way. We actually we could hit a little bit, and then Josh is the guy that I lean on. Josh is the guy when I need advice, I need coaching advice, I need player advice, I need parent advice, I need what do I do here? I called him this year and asked him, Coach, how cold is too cold for you guys to play? And he just gives me advice when I need advice. So those are my main guys, along with I'd be wrong if I didn't say my assistants. They play a big part of my life, and so those are my influences.
Awesome. Thank you. Coach Moseley, you got a bunch of great ones down there in Alabama. Who were some of your influences?
Yeah, we've been very lucky in Alabama to have great college baseball, but mine starts in high school. I played as an amateur counting college. I was around a lot of Hall of Fame coaches. Ray Walker, who's my high school coach at Grissom High School in Huntsville, and then I moved to Virginia right before my senior year and played for another one in Dennis Moody at Midlothian. They're both really good, but the first huge influence for me is Brian Shoup, who just retired at UAB, and I played for him at Birmingham Southern. He was he's the coach that would talk to you about anything. He would talk to you about Jesus, which is probably the most important thing of all. But he just retired. He's had, I don't know many people who, when they retire, have had more of an influence on people than Brian Shoup has. And I went right from there to coaching in high school and coached with the legendary Sammy Dunn at Vestavia, who was just absolutely incredible learning experience. So, I like to tell people that, anybody could have, just if you'd been around the people I was lucky enough to be around, could have just kind of stepped into at least a decent amount of knowledge. Beyond that, my wife has been a tremendous coaching influence for me. I know wives have already been mentioned more than once, but I have a situation where my wife wants to be involved in everything our program does, and having her around has been a big influence. And I have 3 daughters, and so there's a lot of estrogen I talk to when I go home, and it's a good balancing act. Butch said something that is very true as well. My players learned a ton from them. And then my assistant coaches, I've been blessed with incredible assistant coaches, too many to name, but I hope any of them that are on here understand how much I've learned from them, and I hope they've learned as much from being around me. So that would be my list.
Thank you, Coach. Coach Saunders, what about you?
I think it started for me back at the early age. Luckily I had a real good friend as an elementary student buddy that his dad was coaching us from age 7 all the way up to age 15. And in fact, he passed away, and the family asked me to speak at his funeral. So that was a great compliment that I had for him, but also what he meant to so many kids in our area. But at the same time, as I went to college, I got a chance to work at a Ted Kluszewski's baseball camp, summer baseball camp, and it brought in the best coaches from the Midwest every week. I was a counselor. I was there 11 weeks in a row. Kids come on Sunday, leave on Friday. And Bob Moran from Ohio University, Bob Starcher from Malone College here in Ohio. Those guys came in, and I just learned to love the game. And what I found out from those people is what they taught me is their energy level. Their energy level was always high. Not to mean that they always ran with the kids and all that, but they always coached, they always talked, they were always teaching. And even after hours, we put the kids to bed at 11 o'clock. As soon as they got to sleep, all of us counselors run up the hill, hang out with the coaches the rest of the night, stay up till 3 and 4 in the morning. They got to be at the field at 10. We had to get them up for breakfast at 7. So it was probably aged me more than anything, but I learned so much about what it meant to be a great coach through their energy, not just on the field, but talking knowledgeable stuff, baseball stuff off the field. I was lucky enough after 4 years of high school coaching, or my first year, John Tipton, who was one of the guys that was there, he's a Ohio Hall of Famer, high school coach. He asked me, I student taught under him. He didn't have an assistant coach, so he and I had he had varsity coach. I was assistant. We only had varsity. We got beat in the state finals 2-1, and that was my first experience at the high school level. I took a head job for 4 years. We did very well, and I asked Bob Morgan at Indiana University if he needed a graduate assistant. And luckily for me, I went to Bloomington for 2 years, learned a lot from Bob Morgan, and nobody matches his energy. And just learned a ton from him, how to run practice, how to get multiple things going at the same time. So that was an awesome experience. And then as I got to Dublin, I've been here 33 years now. What I found was our community just had, the kids loved to play. We had huge camps. Our camp was 475 kids in the summer. 1 week, I'd hire our coaches from all around the community to come in and help us because we needed them. We had about 26 fields, 8 regular. The rest of them were made up in soccer fields and football fields that we had to put bases down for different levels. But it just continued to grow. And the more I was around it, the more I liked it. But we started having success. But as I look back and going to the clinics, my first clinic was 35 years ago in New Orleans. We drove there from Ohio and tried never to miss after that. So just the people I met, then because I met people, just like all the rest of our coaches here, they'd ask me or if I could help out in some way. So I was at USA Baseball for 15 years. And to be honest, that's where I learned baseball, is hanging around the USA Baseball coaches. Lunch McKenzie with our 16-year-old staff. I was lucky to be his assistant. Bill Krejci out of Iowa. Donnie Freeman out of Washington was my pitching coach. New Mexico, I went to Mexico. But what I found is I can listen to a clinic stick for 45 minutes and learn things, but I was spending 6 weeks with guys I could actually roll over and use exactly what they were teaching and feel comfortable about it. So I became a better coach once I got more involved with all those great coaches from across the country.
No doubt. No doubt. Very similar to what we try to do, bring great coaches together. I mean, that's been kind of the mission of the ABCA since it started, bring coaches together and provide resources, because you get a bunch of great minds together. It's amazing what they can come up with. But Butch, I'm kind of curious if you could give me a basic overview of what your culture looks like. And I've gone to the liberty of putting together some slides that y'all should be able to see on your screen, but we'll cut to them as well. And I'm just kind of curious to get your take on some of these pictures and see what's your culture look like over there at Cookeville?
First of all, let me tell you this. The other guys on this call, there's this lady and her name's Judith Rich Harris, and she writes a book called The Nurturing Assumption. She actually creates a term, peer pressure. So I too have a wife and 3 daughters I'd like to thank at this time. My golly, I didn't want to be that guy. Yeah, what you're seeing, I didn't know you had these pictures, but these pictures are out here. And that's a huge cornerstone of what we do right there. Our cornerstones work. And we are the 4th largest high school in the state of Tennessee, and we're tucked back into the woods. So we don't always get, that high caliber big city athlete that can pick and choose, like a Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga. You move into town, you find the baseball school and you go there. We just get good kids who they work hard, and you can see we have our winter competition, and that's what we say all fall and all winter. They're lifting weights so they can compete in this competition. And the picture down on the bottom there where he's flipping the tire, he's trying to compete. And I know a lot of guys do like Omaha Challenge or name the state you're in the city where they play the state championship challenge. We just call ours the Anvil, and it's all about making them harder. And they're training so they can compete. You can see that picture in the top left. They're huddled up and we're circled up, and we're praying right there. And we're praying because we're so happy to be able to do what we're doing and get together. And my guys get tight. You see one of them, you see 5 of them. The picture on the far right, again, there's about a hill by our place, which has become famous. And those guys run those 100-yard sprints up that hill, and we have all kinds of stuff we do on that hill. And that hill, it's going to sharpen them also. That picture in the middle, our right field section out there, that's our right field rowdies where our students are. And they get after it, man. And it's just ruthless out there. And it's not rocking unless I've had an umpire complain a couple of times about that right field section out there. They've run off many right fielders. But we just clinched a championship right there. And first thing I tell my guys, you go thank those people. And they go down there and they just it's an unbelievable pep rally in the corner for about 30 seconds. And then probably the best thing that we do is bottom center. And that's our weight room. And you can see those guys, my strength coach, Derek Bush, he's putting them through something right there. I too am blessed to have good coaches who, have played for me. They know what I want, and they're really good at what they do. And we have one word. We don't put a whole bunch of different sayings on the back of shirts or front of shirts, and it's not a lot of high graphics. It's real basic, and it's credo, and it means I believe. And it's the belief in each other, the belief in the coaches, the belief in the system, the belief that, if you have breath in your body, you're not out of the fight. And that middle section, the only thing we have put on the back of a shirt in a long time is, opportunity favors the strong. Those are, that's me burning weeds.
Well, I tried to cut that part out for you, Coach, but I wanted to leave the fire in there just because it credo, it added a little flavor to one of the pillars, I'm guessing.
Appreciate it. But
what are you
this
burning?
is I'm burning the weeds with a blowtorch. Instead of having to pull them or hula hole them, I just burn them out, baby. Shut up, Mose. This down the center there, those are things that are actually, they look like they're little bumper stickers, but they're actually about 6 feet long by 3 feet high, and they're around our locker room. And, they're just reminders of things that we say all the time. And the second one right there, if you're a kid in my program and you say, my bad, I get after you, because I believe my bad gets you beat. And you get too many my bads going on, bad things are happening to your team. Down at the bottom, it talks about pressure as a privilege. The sign I thank God every day I'm a Cavalier. No offense to my friends who might be listening, but I tell my guys all the time, hey, I could have been a Jet or a Pioneer or a Warrior, but I'm a Cavalier, and I thank God every day I'm a Cavalier. And then those are socks. We were doing, Jim, I have no idea how you hacked in. Now I'm really worried.
I'm sneaky, man. No, this is as far as it gets.
I am seriously. I keep waiting for like Russians to call my phone or something like this. This is you're not supposed to have that picture. But you see a tight pair of gray trouts right there, and it was casual day at school, and we were comparing socks, and mine said Credo. I was wearing my Friday Credo sock. Golly, that's scary,
Awesome.
Jim.
Hey, man. It goes to all the high school ball players out there. Any
Watch,
college coach can find anything on the internet.
You're gonna show like Moseley's 25, Greek gods lifting weights and holding up state championships, and Todd's is gonna be over here with
tell you what he's not showing.
Big Ten guys. And Jimmy's out there with guys at Oklahoma State, and Timmy knows every college. He's had 800.
Butch, he's not showing my socks. I can guarantee you that.
I don't know. Mose, be careful. I don't know where he got that picture. I really don't.
Yeah, sneaky, man. Sneaky.
The power of ABCA.
Seriously. Coach Genke, same question goes to you. Can you kind of give us a basic overview of the culture at St. Charles North High School?
Absolutely. Again, I firmly believe that your program has to have a rallying cry. I think there has to be a bottom line, an accountability to what you do. And, one of the things that we do, we take a spring trip every year, which I know not every high school is able to do it or can do it, but it's a really important piece to us. And, we fundraise for it, and it's a big part of what we do and who we are. And on that trip, you can see the letters HD there. It's an acronym that stands for just basically being a leader and being accountable for your actions. And Jim, you actually were the one that kind of came to me when you were coaching with us quite a few years ago and mentioned this. And so you have a big part in this, but basically what we do is we usually go to Cocoa Beach or somewhere where there's a beach, and Myrtle Beach as well. And the whole team goes out onto the beach, and we line up in a semicircle, and there's a pledge that every player has to make. They step up. We make like a home plate in the beach. In the sand, and every kid steps up onto that home plate and makes this pledge to their teammates. And again, it's a pledge not for me, not for their parents, not for their families. It's a pledge between them and their teammates. And, it speaks highly of, again, that accountability piece and making sure that, they're being accountable for their actions, whether they're on the field, whether they're in the hotel, whether they're on campus, whether they're in the classroom. And, you can just hold them to that. And I think it's a bond. It creates that bond that is really been a major part of who we have become. And, so we put it on everything. We put it on speaking of socks, we put it on our stirrups, we put it on the back of our hat, we put it on multiple t-shirts. And, a lot of our kids in our building think they know what it means, but they really don't, because it's an acronym. And it's something that, I can't tell anybody. Speaking of the Russians, we don't want the Russians to know anything about this. So I'm not going to tell you what it means, but it's a special part of who we are. So when you look at these pictures, again, I think it's important, whatever your motto is, whatever your credo is, whatever your belief system is, you have to put it all over the place. We have it on our press box. We have it in our dugout. We have it everywhere. So there's no question, if a student athlete deviates from that creed and from that pledge, they know there's going to be accountability to that. So, and that also comes with the leadership part. I don't believe in having captains, because I feel like each positional group should have some type of leader in that group. And, instead of just having one or two or three captains, I like to just have guys that lead their position group. So again, we do this, we talk about HD in the fall, we talk about HD in the weight room, we talk about HD, preseason, postseason, at our banquets, and anything we do, it's basically the common denominator. So again, my advice to any coaches out there is, whatever you believe in, put it all over the place. Have some type of way that these kids have to commit to each other, and they'll believe it, and they'll buy in. And then, the younger kids, as you scaffold your program, the younger players understand what it means, and it's a big part of who you are. And I'm telling you, it's made a huge difference in our program, and it might be the single most important piece that we've developed. So again, I wanted to thank JR for that. He brought it to us, and it's a great part of what we are and who we are. And the best part is, they come back years from now with these relationships that we create, and they say, Coach, that meant a lot to me. And that pledge on that beach is something that I'll never forget. So that's what we believe in. And, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share it with everybody.
Dude, we didn't do it on no beach when I was around, gangs.
Sorry, we kind of had to develop it to the beach. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we were shoveling home plate shoveling the snow off home plate to do it there, man.
Yeah, I do remember that, and I apologize for that. It's way better on the beach.
Hey, no worries, no worries. Now, Coach Harris, I'm interested to hear your take on your basic overview of your program's culture and any sort of pillars or mantras that you may want to share. I wanted to get, we'll get to a video a little bit later, but this was something that kind of spoke out when I was doing a little digging into your social media stuff is the Be the Someone. But why don't you go ahead and give us a basic overview of the culture of your program?
So starting off, our culture is basically it's like all you guys. We want to work hard. I mean, there's no substitute for any of that. I mean, we're like Coach Chaffin. We don't have the best athletes and the big time players like a lot of the guys that we play in we're in the largest classification in Oklahoma. So we just work. We want to work hard, and in the fall we work hard. We talk to our guys about working in a way to have a chance at the end. We want to work in a way that we deserve to be in big games. We want to work those. We want to work in a way that we want to outwork folks. And so we talk about being very detailed in our culture. Is we want to be disciplined. We want to be responsible. We want our guys to be responsible young men. We want them just like you guys do. We want them to be good husbands and good dads, and we want them to be responsible. One of the biggest things that my players come back and tell me when I ask them, what do you like most about being a Stillwater baseball player? They talk about family, and they talk about the brotherhood, and they talk about the closeness. And one of the things that we may do that we trick them, probably like you guys do, is we do so many things that I don't ever talk brotherhood. I don't ever talk family. I don't ever talk that stuff. That's just what we do. We do it by all the things that we're probably going to get into tonight, but we do it with all those things. So being the someone. So before that, I guess our word, and I think you're going to maybe ask me this later, but we talk about our word is our way. And we just, again, we're not trying to say that in an arrogant way or anything like that, but we make our guys do a lot of stuff. We put them through a lot, and it's not easy to be a Stillwater baseball player. But we have a lot of guys that want to come. We have guys that are seniors and they don't get to play their senior year. And I talk to them and I'm like, hey, you may not get to play much. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure this is something you want to do? You can go make some money. You can go fishing. You can go hunt. I mean, there's other things you can do. Are you sure you want to do all this work? Because I'm not going to take it easy on you. I'm gonna hold you to the expectations I hold everyone else. Are you sure you want to do all this? Because this is a lot of work and you may not get to play. And all of them, Coach, this is my family. This is who I am. One of you a while ago said that when you see one, you see five. That's exactly how we are. When you see, their best friends are baseball players, and that's just kind of the culture that we have. But be the someone is the saying that I heard Tim Tebow say that he used to have in his room is somewhere someone's working when I'm not, and when we meet up, he will win. Somewhere someone's working when I'm not, and when we meet up, he will win. Well, we want to be that someone. We're going to be that someone that's working. We're going to be that someone that after practice we're hitting. We're going to be that someone that's getting extra reps in, extra work in, extra lifts in, extra whatever it is. We're going to be that someone. And so when we play people, and sometimes they scratch their head and they're like, how in the world did these guys beat us? Well, we're that someone, because we might play a team that has 6 Division I players and we have 4 JUCO players on the team, and we find a way to win. And we win because we're the someone, and we really believe that. And so and again, you're tricking them. So if I'm working extra and I'm doing all this stuff that we're doing, they are learning exactly what I wanted in our culture. I want them to be responsible. I want them to be disciplined. I want them to be detailed, and I want them to be a family. And so along the way, they will go, they'll go eat, they'll go to the indoor, and they'll hit, and they're hitting in a group, and they're hanging out in a group. And you know how it is. They're hitting, and then they'll goof around and they'll play around, and then a little bit later they're hitting again, but they're spending time with one another. And those are the things. That's where the family and the brotherhood they talk about that they think is so important. They don't understand that it's the way that we do all the things that circle back to one another, and that's what we do. And we talk about being the someone all the time. I mean, we talk about that's what we do. I mean, we're gonna lift in the morning 4 days a week in the fall, like all of you guys do. We make them be there early. We have expectations about what we expect out of them, just like you guys do. But the thing that we do is there's times where the guys will, and they wear us out because anytime they ask us to throw to them or do something with them, our coaches are open to do that. We don't charge them a penny. Some coaches do that and we don't. So that means I'm at the indoor a lot. I'm there a lot throwing to guys after practice. They'll set up the field and I'll go out and throw to them. My assistants throw to them. I mean, we spend a lot. We're invested in being the someone, and that's one thing that I think probably speaks more than anything about our program is we're gonna work in such a way that we're gonna be there at the end.
Awesome. It's awesome. Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Coach Mo, same question goes to you. Basic overview of the culture of your program, but I don't know which ones we want to start at because I really want to ask.
Bring it. There's no socks, so bring it.
Well, there's a chair and a hat, and
there's a chair.
I have no background info on this, but I saw this on your school's website.
Okay.
I'm like, son of a gun. The chair, the hat, it's empty. There's got to be a good story in this. And
so
basic overview, and then I got to hear about the chair.
Okay. Well, first, I think as everybody's talking about their programs and their cultures and everything else, I think it's important to know, who you're representing and where you are, right? So I've coached at two very high-profile schools in Alabama with two totally different clienteles. The school I coached at in Huntsville, Grissom, was all engineers, and they needed to hear things in a very systematic method. And the school I coach at now has been known for football for a very, very long time. And when I came here, I thought it was all about, silver spoon, and everybody's got everything handed to you. And it's the exact opposite. It's very family oriented. It's very, it's an insane amount of work. And if you don't like work, and if accountability for that work bothers you, you don't need to come. You need to find another school to attend. You need to find another job if you're a coach, because both of those, it applies to coaches and to our players. And so our culture, everybody's got words and stuff. And I used to not do that. I played for Coach Shoup, like I said, and I remember one day, I guess I did, Jim, kind of what you did. I went to him, was like, "Hey, Coach, look at this quote. I think it'd be really good for this year for our team." I was a senior, and he looked at me dead in the face and goes, "Yeah, I mean, if you need that, I guess that's good." And I went, "Well, now I feel like I'm about that big." But his point was just quite simply like, maybe let's find our validity in the work we put in, and let's just work really, really hard and work really, really smart. So that's what we do. We do have, this is kind of the land of acronyms here at Hoover. So our football coach is great at it. And so we have a core values acronym. It goes by Bucks, and just the B is for bold, U is for uncommon, C is for committed, and the S is for selfless. And then we have something different every year that we go through in different words, just one word though, not like, a whole lot, just one word. And it's always trying to bring something to the players that would maybe give them something to work on throughout the year. And so that chair that you show right there is one of the coolest things we've done. I will take zero credit for it, other than to say I told our assistant coach, "Hey, these seniors from 2020 got hosed. We need to do something to recognize them." And so he said, "I got an idea." And I said, "All right, go with it, and just let's see what happens." And so what he did is he took that chair to people's houses in the background.
Oh, wow.
And he interviewed them about their time in our program. And so it was awesome. And he hasn't released all of it yet, because he's like, "Hey, I got the tear jerking stuff saved for the end." But all of those seniors in the bottom right portion of your screen, that's our 12 seniors for this year. And a lot of them are really, really good baseball players. But to hear what they said about our program was really special to me. And what they said about their parents. And I know we're getting into talking about parents later on, but I think it's important for them to recognize that and talk about their parents. And, there's some, like I said, there's some really good players in there. There's a couple of guys that will probably play Major League Baseball or have a chance to play, at least in the minors, one day. But that doesn't matter. We don't really talk about that. We're just talking about this group and trying to be a Buck, and what does it mean to be a Buck, and we're going to roll with it from there. And so that's what that chair is about. And then I see the Zoom there. We've been doing Zoom meetings with our program, on and off, like I think everybody else has. And we've been lucky to get some pretty fun speakers to be on there to kind of help build our culture a little bit when we do that. So I guess that's an overview of it. There's plenty more we can talk about as we go, but I don't want to go forever on it.
Hey,
JR, ask Mose where that leather chair is. It gave him an excuse to buy a $1,500 leather chair for his house.
That's an Ashley Furniture chair. And if you haven't ever been to Ashley Furniture, they're always on sale at Ashley Furniture. And so, there you go. It was a good discount. That's no leather. That's fake.
Hey, man, it looks good for the pictures.
Yeah, pleather is right. There we go.
Now, Coach Saunders, I know this is the conclusion of your coaching career. 2020 was a really tough pill to swallow, but you have had some phenomenal programs come through Dublin Kaufman. And I saw one of these pictures here, and I saw it and I'm like, goodness, my mother would absolutely die for something like that nowadays. I don't know whose idea this was, but long story short, I was coming across some pictures, and what stuck out about Dublin Kaufman was the guys who were always kind of coming back. And, I think that speaks a lot to the culture. And, I mean, you have one of the better pictures in all of NCAA in one of those pictures as well. But just a basic overview of your culture that you established at Dublin Kaufman over those 33 years.
Well, I tell you what, I'm like everybody else. We want to work hard, we want to do all that stuff, but I try to pick up on guys. This is a game. Don't make work out of a game. I learned that from Lunch McKenzie out of Minnesota. That when you're struggling, you're making work out of life. When you're making work out of the things that you're supposed to be enjoying, we got to redirect that somehow. So I think communication is the key, especially in our situation. We keep 30 kids on our varsity roster every year. The least we've had in the last 20 years has been 26, 25 maybe. We're in that same situation with seniors. I give them roles as a bullpen catcher, foul ball grabber between innings. I mean, and they keep coming back. And so I think communication is what we're looking at for us, and try to have as much fun as we can, because the teams that win have fun. Sure, winning helps, but we find ways, and our big project for us is building on the field. We put our time in together. We set stuff up. We're putting up the batting cages. We're taking down the batting cage in the fall. We're taking down the trash cans, cleaning up for the fall. We're putting them all back in the spring. So in the end, we've had a lot of players go on and play college baseball. A few of them draft, a few of them made the major leagues. But what they like is when they hook up in different parts of the country. They're all different schools for the most part playing, or they just come see each other. But as soon as it's tournament time and colleges are out, our place fills with kids from the last 15 years. We do have a couple rules for our kids, and it's a little bit different for baseball, because I've stuck by some old-fashioned rules about your hair's got to be shorter than mine. That's lasted. No tattoos, no earrings. If you get those, you don't play for us. And I see them come over the hill. I say, you know what, when you go to college, that's all good. You can do whatever you want. I'll think nothing less of you. When they come back, they take their earrings out walking down towards the baseball field. They'll put their sleeves down so their tattoo doesn't show. And I always allow them to come in the dugout. Hey, you're an alumni guy, come in the dugout with us. Our dugouts are huge. We can, they're 60 foot long and they're 15 feet deep. This is that top picture there is our seniors this year did not get to play. The moms really took care of that. And as we play and get tournament time, it starts filling up for the big games. And it's been amazing. But that picture there, our players, they did all the work, including, if you look at those trees in the outfield, there's 175 arborvitae trees. We built those by hand, or we dug those holes by hand because it's too rocky. We had to use spud bars. That took us about 2 weeks, and the players were out there with us in the rain and trying to get it done. We put the wall up. The kids had to dig the footers by hand in order to get them all the way down the left field side, the right field side. So a lot of our work projects that we do that's our team bonding. And I can figure out in the fall who is not a worker and who is. And I make a statement of that to that kid somehow, that this is what I noticed about you as we're going into weights now. We're getting ready to go into weights. That if you continue this method, it might not help you down the road. And you may not hear about this year or next year, but usually when, like all the other coaches say, when kids are out 5-6 years, they come back and say, that helped me a lot. So for us, it's just communication, wanting to be there with the kids. On a normal summer day, I'd spend 10 hours at the field. Kids would come and go. I'd let them hit on the field. I'd let them, I'm doing something else. They hit in the cages. I'd throw to them. Then I'd go back to work edging, whatever it is. And I think for me, they saw that my passion for the field and for coaching baseball, it rubbed off into them, and they wanted to play for somebody like that. Our coach was the same way. And I basically just tell our coaches, guys, it's my job to make the final, to find out where they're going to go, if they want to keep playing, where they're going to play, and what level they are in high school, where they're going to be. But your job as a freshman coach and a JV coach is just don't run them off. I want every one of those kids of 20 freshmen, I want them coming out as seniors, and then we'll make a decision if we can help them or they can help us. And like I said, communication to me is the key. And we've been very fortunate to have a lot of good players, and at the same time, some average players that love the game, and to be able to go to their weddings later on and see their kids getting born. I mean, it's just an awesome feeling for me as a coach.
Oh,
So
thank you, Coach.
that family stuff is true. It's just a matter of how you go about getting that family atmosphere. And that's what I think we all need to do and should do. And most of us do try to do that the best we can.
No doubt. Well, heck, I remember growing up plenty of times digging holes in the backyard for my old man or doing some sort of project. I mean, effectively, you got a whole team of young men that you're treating like your son, putting to work. And it definitely seems to have helped create that family environment that you've been come to be known for down there. So now, just for the sake of time, we're going to kind of breeze through some, I wouldn't say breeze through, but I'm going to try to hit on some big main idea questions instead of breaking things down to the smallest common denominator. So, Butch, I'm really curious, fail forward moments. What do you think coaches need to be cautious of? Like, culture is such this, I don't want to say the word cliche, but it's very popular. It's something that everybody's talking about. And what should coaches be cautious of when they're trying to build their program?
I think a lot of coaches, they're so excited about being coaches when they're young that they try to do too much. They try to do everything. And bottom line, we're trying to win baseball games with kids, and along the way we're going to create young men, and we're going to put a lot into it. We're going to try to be more creative. If you pop that slide up, there you go. This is what I believe. I think these are myths and mistakes of culture. First one is guys go too much. They give out too much. Hey, I'm trying to coach high school baseball players. We're not trying to create SEALs, Marines, firemen, policemen, or SWAT team. And I see some guys, they got them out there doing SEAL training. Hey, we're trying to play a high school baseball game. And I understand the building of the toughness part, but my goodness. And then a guy reads a book and he goes that direction. Then he reads another book and he goes that direction. So I think you put too much on them too fast, and now it becomes all convoluted and watered down, and you dilute it, and you may not get what you want. I think your culture's got to be authentic. It's got to be original. And like I said, there's FOMO, that fear of missing out. There's so many guys out there they're just stacking. Your worst nightmare is a coach that has a high SAT and can read really fast, because now he's going to read 9,000 books and he's going to try to implement it all, and he can't sift through, grab some concepts and move on. But I would love to have Moseley's culture, and I'm sure there are parts of my culture that he'd like to have. But we have so many different variables created by where we are in the country and what kind of players we get and where we live, and that financial level of our players' parents and what our parents do for a living. And I heard a coach say one time, the best coaching job in the world would be like in a tropical desert island orphanage or something like that. And I was like, that's funny. That's funny, but we don't have that. I think too many times a lot of young coaches and just some coaches, they allow the players to put too much into the culture. And, it's just a program. I hear guys use, hey, our program, that program. It's only a program to the coach, because many times the kids are in it for 4 years and the players are in it, and they come back. And like Timmy said, they'll come back and we do that, and they come in our dugout, and that's cool. But they move on, and you're left with, well, my long-term vision, but I only have these guys for a few years. And if we can get, my team, everybody's all in. No, they're not. That's a myth. It's a myth. Everybody coaching sports, you're not getting 100% buy-in. What you have is, again, you'll have peer pressure where kids feel like they have to buy in. They can't say anything because 99% believe in what's happening. And that thing, and Jim, I was going to take this out, and you said leave it in. Beware the flood. That's what I refer to it as, the flood. The flood is when you introduce so much culture too soon, too fast, and kids drown. And, too much culture building too fast leads to teams being pulled apart in different directions. And I've seen it where coaches can't even follow their own culture. They don't even know what's going on because they've introduced so much. But I think you build your culture based on what you want to accomplish. We want to win baseball games. We want to, toughen our kids up. And I have all kinds of kids, just like you guys do. I have all kinds of kids. I have poor kids. I have single parent family kids, divorced. I have kids that drive $60,000 pickup trucks and drive up to $400,000 homes. I mean, they dress like cowboys and then they drive up to these houses and they've never baled hay or push mowed a yard or anything. But you build your culture based on what you want to accomplish. And if you have a well-built culture, it's going to cut off a lot of problems before they actually pop up. You know, if you lay it out, Mose is one of the best in the country. And if you hadn't figured out, Mose and I are like good friends. Mose is one of the best in the country at when it comes to communication. And if I asked, you know, if I said, Mose, what would you like to get better at? He would say, I'd like to be a better communicator. And he's one of the best communicators when it comes to parents in the world. And he wants to get better at it. So, I mean, you know, if you stay open, you communicate and try to keep those things, your culture, it's going to knock down a lot of problems before they happen.
No doubt, no doubt. And Coach, the flood thing, when I was reading your presentation and what you had sent over, you know, I was just drawing parallels to hitting Twitter. And hitting Twitter can be a very volatile place, especially if somebody isn't 100% locked into what it is that they believe. They start trying to share and right away they get shut down. There's just so much information coming from so many different directions. They get flooded. Absolutely. And, you know, I think the key to that is something that I wanted to ask Coach Genke is trust, because on hitting Twitter, we don't know anybody. These are just ideas. There's no trust. So Yanks, how do you go about building that trust within your program?
Well, that's a great question. And by the way, this is so great to hear all these coaches talk about the things that we all sit up at night thinking about. So I really appreciate you guys sharing all this info with us. But, you know, trust is so important. And it does start with communication, because if you don't communicate well to your players and you don't give them, you know, their you know what we expect from them, then they don't know, and if they don't know, then we have problems. So that communication piece is vital to the trust. But I also wanted to touch a little bit on what Butch just mentioned about, you know, this flooding of culture. You know, I think it's great to have the opportunity to share you know what makes our programs special in our minds. But I also believe too, you know, with social media, if you have to talk about your culture, then you don't have it. So, you know, it's one thing if someone asks me, hey, what's your culture like? What this is, you know, one of the reasons why we're sharing this tonight is to find out what are some great cultures around the country. But if you have to constantly talk about your culture, you don't have it. And, you know, when you go on social media and you see so many coaches across the country, you know, talking about this and talking about that, and there's definitely a flooding. I like that term, Coach, because it's a flooding of information and it's a flooding of ideals, and you know, our kids are not going to handle that very well most of the time. So I also think you need to be real with your kids. I think they need to see you laugh. They need to see you, you know, get upset. They need to see you, you know, show that you care. Because being a role model is important to building that trust. And, you know, anybody can pick out someone that's fake, and your players can do it very quickly. And, you know, if you show them, you know, you're a real person, you care about the same things they care about. And, you know, again, we all want to win. There's no question. We all want to be a state champion at the end of the season. But the bottom line is, you know what? You may have a kid sitting on your bench that played 2 innings all year. And I want to have the same relationship and trust with that kid that I have with our best players that are going to go on and play Division I baseball or college baseball, or maybe be a professional someday. So I think from top to bottom, we keep a large roster as well. I think it's important that everybody, we use this term a lot, everybody pulls on the same end of the rope. And, you know, you have that buy-in as best you can from your top player all the way down to maybe the kid that catches bullpens. And so that trust is important. and kids need to understand that you care about them on and off the field, in the classroom. What's going on at home? What's your brother doing? What's your sister doing? What classes are you struggling in? How can I help you? How can my coaching staff help you? How can we teach you and assist you in being the best person you can be on and off the field? So thanks for asking that question. Trust is paramount in what we do as educators and as teachers and coaches. And, the kids have to trust us, because if they don't, things are going to fall apart.
No doubt. Now, this one kind of is a little bit off script, but I'm interested in hearing anybody who's willing to respond. And I think the correct answer is going to be, well, it depends on the kid. But in theory, does the kid have to trust you before he buys in? Or does the kid have to buy in before you, the coach, will trust him? What seems to be in your experiences, how that whole situation's worked? Because I know I'm just going to throw that out there. What do you guys got?
What I've found over the years is that parents and players cannot trust you and should not trust you until they get to know you. And I can't trust my players until I get to know them. And I can't make judgments beforehand before I get to know them. So at our parent meetings and stuff, we talk about, guys, there's going to be things that take place here that you may disagree with. But in a year or 2 or 3 years down the road, you're going to understand it. So I realize that you're a dad or you're a mom that's been in this game for a long time. You've met me for the first time, and now you got to give me a little bit of leeway here. But in the end, my job should be to convince you by watching my actions and what I do with your sons that it's going to help them in the long run. And I think that trust is basically, it's just got to be about getting to know the kid. That's why it's big for me. I know these coaches spend a lot of time with your kids, however you can do it. Hold them accountable in the classroom when teachers are having problems, kid's tardy, he's not doing his work, whatever it might be. You got to pull them off the side and talk to them and let them know you care about them. And whatever it takes to let kids know that you're spending time with them, you care about them, even though they're not with you. I think that's where the trust gets more important. And when you get trust, you know what? It helps your entire program, because that's when parents are telling people in the community, oh, you want your kid playing for this coach. Because there's also people in the community, or parents telling people in the community, you don't want your kids playing for that coach. And that's not a good thing. So I've always said this ever since day one. I want my kids to like me. I've heard coaches talk and say, I don't care if they like me. I just want them to work hard and win games. Well, we've lost games, not on purpose, but lost games just to give kids a chance to play. And that kid we talked about, that bullpen catcher, hey, you know what? We're going to start you today in the second game. And you're playing all 7 innings. You know what? They may or may not have a good game, but in the end, hell, you might have won a game and the kid had a couple hits. That made that kid's whole life. But I think trust, like we talked about, it's got to be a two-way street, and you've got to spend time with them and show them. If you don't know them, you can't trust them, and vice versa.
Easy enough. Now, Coach Harrison, Coach Moseley, this next question, I'm very interested to hear both of y'all's takes on this. Is parent involvement in regards to the overall culture of your programs? When digging into your social media and stuff like that, I just saw what looked to be an overwhelming support from parents. And that's not to exclude anybody else on the panel, because it was just overly abundant with Hoover and Stillwater that the parents were like in every single picture doing everything. Coach Harris, how do you balance the parental involvement within your culture? And then Coach Moseley, I'm going to be asking you that follow-up that then goes to what's too much, what's not enough, or is it just whatever they can give? So Coach Harris, why don't you start us off?
Well, we believe that it is very important that our parents are involved. Our parents, I come from an area where the parents are very involved. Today's baseball player, for the most part, the parents are involved because of travel baseball. Parents they spend a lot of money. They go all over the country. They go all over the place, and they spend a lot of time with them. So the way I view this is, I would be probably pretty silly if I didn't involve them. They're so used to being involved. Now, we do put some guidelines. We do put some rules and restrictions that we ask the parents to do. the first thing that I do at Stillwater is in the fall, it's called a senior moms meeting. And when I have my senior moms meeting, we basically sit down this coming fall, I'll sit down with 18 moms. And in this meeting, there may be a mom and there may also be a stepmom. So I may have more than 18 in the room, and we will actually start talking about the year. And when the first thing I ask them is, I will ask them, what are you going to do? What can I do to make this a special year for your son? So for me, I get another year of seniors, and this is your last one. And you coaches know this as well as I do. On that senior year, they see it a little different. The players see it a little different because this is their last time. For some, it's their last time to do things. So during this meeting, my moms, I let them choose what game is going to be our senior night. I let them choose how that's going to look like. Do we do it before the game? Do we do it after the game? How they want to do that. They will decide what they want to do, and I'll let them do that. And I told you earlier today is it's hard for a parent to complain if they're the one that's doing that. When I first got to Stillwater, they all complained about how the banquet went, how this went, how that went. So some of those things, and it really, I don't mean this in a light way, but don't really mean a whole lot to me as far as what game we play or how the banquet is ran or what food we have. I don't care about that. That's not important to me, but to the parents it is. And so I let them decide some of that stuff. We have a meeting, a list of all the things we want to accomplish, and basically two or three moms will get on that committee, and maybe they have the spring break goodie bags committee. Maybe they do the senior poster committee. Maybe they're the ones that's doing. There's 5 of them that are doing the banquet committee, and they're in charge of that. So they get to do all that. And again, talking about the closest of our family, those parents that may not always see eye to eye because your kid's playing ahead of my kid and I think my kid's better or whatever the case may be, they start to have to interact with one another. And they find out, just like everyone does, she's not so bad. She really has a good heart. They really care about my kid. And so we tend to work things out there. And the other part that we do is everything that we do, I include my parents. When we do our fundraising, so what we do as a fundraiser is we put on the chairbacks. If you all of you guys go to college football games, and if you go to a college football game, if you're a season ticket holder, you have the option to have a chair, a padded chair in your seat. Well, Stillwater High School, we put those on at Oklahoma State, and that's a tough fundraiser, and it's a lot of work. We make a lot of money, but it's a lot of work because we put them in the heat, and we take them out in the cold, and the parents are with us. They're right there with us. The moms, the dads, the kids, they're all in that, and they're there grinding and working hard with us. Then when we do our fun activities, they're right there with us taking pictures, and they're serving food, and they're a part of all the things that we do, all of our functions, our baseball retreat. We do a fun thing with the parents that's called we can't scrimmage in the fall like we used to, so we do a Halloween wiffle ball game. And I divide my team up, and I put about 4 or 5 players on a team. I have 10 teams, and then the players have to go out and they have to get it's from the baseball family, so it has to be people within our baseball family, and they have to. There's a mom, a dad, a couple girls, because a lot of the girls go to you go to baseball games. There's the girlfriends are usually there, so I want to embrace that, and I want them to be a part of this because it's a fun activity. And then we pick a couple little kids. If you're a 6th grader or below, we let you be a part of this. And then we have our retreat that you're seeing right here. I mean, we have where we have parents right there that are the judges, and the guys have to do a lip sync, and they have to do and we work on this stuff. These are things that our guys do. Our parents are involved in all this, and they help. They have to work extra on all of these different things. And this is the stuff that we do with our parents. And I know some of these pictures are a little disturbing when you see the boys with oil on their chest, but this is a part that they do really well. and our parents do a really good job of supporting all this. And I've found out, and I can't wait to hear what Coach Moseley says, but I found out the more you involve the parents under the supervision of the coach, things seem to work out better. I found out that the more I lean on the parents about things that helps build our program, I think the better things run for us. I don't talk to the parents about, and they're going to. I don't talk to them about playing time as much as they want me to, but we do talk about those things. When they, but our program is family, and it's a big deal. Where when we go on our spring break trip, the whole varsity, all the parents come, and we're involved in. I'll let them be involved in about everything that we do, and right or wrong, that's kind of what we do, and I find that to be the easiest way to allow them to enjoy their senior year with their kids.
That's awesome. So I had to, once I saw this video, I had to share it. I mean, especially, I don't know if that's going to be your starting shortstop in the next, maybe 6 years or so. The little kid who was so jacked up for winning, he had to be somebody's little brother. But yeah, I just love to see the community involvement and stuff. Coach Moseley, same question goes on to you, but you can take it any direction you want to. Parents are often looked at, unfortunately, as a negative within high school programs. But based on what Coach Harris is telling me and some of the conversations I've had with you, they can be a huge advocate to help. What are your thoughts and where the line is, and what do you have them do, and how does that play into your culture?
Well, I think, first of all these guys talk about taking trips. We have a really good tournament if all you Northerners want to come down to our tournament for one of those trips. And we'll make a beach if we need to, so you can do the on the line. But I don't think you can, I think the line for parents is easy. Don't talk to me about baseball stuff, and we can talk about everything else, right? So we don't talk about playing time. They don't generally come in our office unless they're invited.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think one of the really, really important things to understand is that idea that success leaves clues. And it'd be really, really arrogant to think that I'm the only one who knows how to have success, or I'm the only one who would know what would give your son success when you've been around them having success, or maybe you've been successful as a businessman or businesswoman. And some of my better friends along my years of coaching have been parents. Maybe not when their kids were playing for me, but afterwards, and that sort of thing. I'm just not scared of them. I don't run from them. I think communicating with them, maybe even too much is a thing. And that's what we're going to try and do. One of the things we try to do here is really take away the concept of the rose-colored glasses. I learned a long time ago that if I have a player evaluation and I tell, since Butch has referenced me a lot, I'm going to reference him now. So I tell Butch, listen, man, you're slow. Not a lot of power. And frankly, I think you may be a little past your prime. But if you can work on this one thing, maybe we could get a little more strikes on discipline. You got a chance to help us. Butch is going to go home and tell his dad or his mom, Coach said, if I can just sit strikes, I'm starting and playing every game. And so, yeah. And that's how it's going to go. So what I do is, and we've done for a while now, is when we have those meetings, parents are welcome. Come on in. There's a couple rules.
Wow.
Number one, you're going to hear your son get some constructive criticism. This isn't a contest to see how big and bad we can make ourselves look. It's hey, let's tell you what you could get better at. And then number two, you can ask questions, but they better be respectful, or the meeting will be over. And I've had parents really respectfully ask some tough questions to answer, but I don't think you need to be scared of that, because if you have conviction in what you're doing, then you're building some trust with them and building that relationship. That's the relationship you want if you're being truly honest about it. And one thing I think, another maybe for parents, maybe a piece of advice that I think is important for anyone to understand is that there's going to be 5 to 10 minutes every day that parent is going to influence their son's entire experience for the day. And if it's a young kid, it's when they get in the car. If it's an old kid, it's when they get home. And the more that you have involved a parent and told them what you're going to do and come through with what you're going to do, then they will edify what you do when their kid gets home or when they see him in the car. It's very simple. The days of, hey, just because coach said so, are generally gone. For most people, it's out. And frankly, that's probably a good thing that they're gone. I mean, there's some things that you're going to do just because coach said so, but sometimes you got to explain all the different things we're asking parents to do to help this program go, because we don't get any money from the city or anything like that. We raise it all. And so what I would love for you to be able to do as a senior parent, though, is to sit there, come to a game, have a seat there for you, sit there and watch your kid play. Don't feel like you got to do anything extra. Just enjoy your son's potentially his last year of playing baseball at all. So that's something we try and do. And we've been pretty good at creating that opportunity for parents. But I mean, sometimes we need to dig in on them and get something out of the senior parents. But we try to really focus on those first 3 years. And we're asking parents to do a lot. We travel a lot of places. And going back to the beginning of the answer, we need that relationship, because if I'm asking you to go raise money for this, they're going to be more inclined to do it if they know you're about what you say you're about. And the only way they know you're about that is if you actually prove it to them. It's incumbent on us to actually prove it to them. At least in my belief, it is. That doesn't mean we're sucking up to a parent or anything, nothing like that. But what you say you're going to do, get it done. Treat kids the right way. Turn them from young men or young boys into young men by the time they leave your program, and involve some parents along the way. I think good things happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. And I do have one other question for you. I wanted
let's
to
go.
play a
Do
little
senior
video
parents
here.
get to sit back in that $10,000 leather chair?
That's actually the chair that you sit in my office when I gave you your evaluation about not being very athletic, Butch. That's your problem. Yes.
I just wanted to get your take on what's going on in this video here.
All right, so that is Ben Harden. He was a manager for us. So this was his freshman year, this year of college. So the previous 4 years, and Ben is a guy who has like a slight case of MS. He's really, really smart. His dad played baseball at Mississippi State. He's a stud of a kid. And so he came to us one day and asked if he could, be a part, or his dad really asked if he could be a part of our program, be a manager. And so, first of all, Ben has gotten more things from more players, because he's the guy who determined if it's a hit or if it's an error, right?
I gotcha.
Like, he learned real quick. He could say, "Hey, guys, I don't know. What do you think? Is it a hit or is it an error? You tell me." And next thing you know, he's eating a cheeseburger for free or something like that. It became a hit. But we took BP. This was right before the playoffs, and every one of them asked if Ben could hit. And so, there were like 64 pitches before that, and he swung and missed at every one of them, and every kid stayed locked in. And on the last one, he hit it. And there's some big time successful athletes in that picture, and they're all just excited about him, or in that video. They're all fired up for him to hit it. And he got absolutely crushed in the dog pile at the end of that. So I thought we were taking him to the hospital.
No, that's awesome, man. I saw the video, and I see the Let's Go guy down in the shortstop hole side throw his glove, and everybody was just so pumped up. And
yeah.
I don't know, man. It really speaks to why we do stuff like this.
That's it. Kids like Ben are the reason you want to be a baseball coach, or just you want to be involved with young people.
No doubt. Well, we've got about 10 minutes or so left, and I kind of want to, I don't want to make this like a brief, fast-paced type round thing, but I'm really interested to know what some of your favorite team building activities have been. Something that kind of stands out about your program that you're like, man, yes, this has really brought our guys together. Coach Saunders, over your 33-year career, the countless guys that you have had, is there something that you did that you just absolutely loved, or was it just ultimately the reinforcement of doing things the right way that just stuck with them? What was your favorite team building thing?
I think what probably helped us the most is something I didn't even realize was going to happen. But we used to have different locker rooms we used to dress inside the school, then walk to the baseball fields. And they were separate places. So our seniors never really got to be around our freshmen. Our freshmen never got to be around our juniors and seniors. And then in 1996, we built our press box and our 2-story 50-seat deal with the elevator on the side. So we opened it up and we got that built, and it's in behind home plate there.
Yeah.
That picture right there with the very bottom right, you can see the glass windows.
Mm-hmm.
We have a full locker room underneath. So when our freshmen got to dress with our seniors, and then they go out on the field and they start throwing with each other, we put our shortstops here. We practice pretty much all the same time. We don't split them up. Now, once we get in the season, we have 3 different sites. The varsity goes together, JV, and we rotate between our cages and our field and our freshman field. But what we found was the shortstops working with the shortstops, the catchers working with the catchers. And we had a boy named Doug DeVore, graduated in 1996, that played with the Diamondbacks in the big leagues for 2 years. He came back and he said, Coach, your teams are always so much better than they were when we played in 96. And I said, you know what? I haven't really thought about it, but our teams got closer together from when we started dressing in the same place and spending more time as a group before we went into our practice spots. And especially if we did specialty work, all the infielders would go together, the outfielders would go hit, pitchers would go do their stuff, and they got to know each other. So I think that closeness to being around each other more made it a positive thing for us. And it was accidental. I was going to put a batting cage in the bottom, but I ended up making a locker room. And as I wanted an indoor batting cage. Now, as looking back, I'm so glad we made a locker room and not a batting cage. I think we actually benefited from being together more.
That's awesome. And a good point. Thank you for sharing that. Butch, what about you? Some of your favorite team building stuff? I'm going to assume it's some sort of lifting situation, some sort of just crushing the weight room thing. What's your favorite team building activity, so to speak?
Yeah, we try to be authentic. We try to be real. And like I said, and I'm stepping on about a billion toes. We don't do campouts. We don't do things like that. We may have a bowling tournament, but the last thing my 16, 17, 18-year-old players, they don't want a 57-year-old man hanging out with them making s'mores. So yeah, we're all about sweat equity and loud in the weight room and just hyping it up and being real and trying to be honest. And we're going to take a lot of hits. We're going to take a lot of bullets over the year, and we don't want it to put us to the ground. It can ding us up, but we want to be able to create some kind of adversity in the weight room and challenge them and do things like that. Bottom line, I want my guys to know I love them, and it's okay for a 14-year-old boy. That's the hardest thing we have to coach. Everybody's like, hey, how do you hit the slider? Or something. The hardest thing we have to do is teach them how to tell each other that they love each other. And our seniors, like Timmy, I'm proud of them when they help out the young kid. It's demanded. But our seniors, it takes them it takes them about, 9 months to learn a freshman's name, unless that freshman's really good. And then those seniors, they learn his name. So I had a freshman one time go, none of these seniors know my name. And I went, well, you need to be better. You need to prove to them you can play, and then they'll know your name.
No doubt.
We it's about sweat equity. I love my guys, and I think my guys love me, and everybody here. I talk about our guys. Our guys in the weight room or conditioning on track or in the cage or at practice. A lot of them, they quit 100 times a day in their head, but they come back the next day, and we talk about coming back the next day and how important that is.
That's awesome. I have not heard that before. Quit 100 times in their head, but they still come back. Yeah, that's spot on, man. That's awesome. It's awesome. Coach Genke, same question to you. Any kind of favorite team building activities? What has been the biggest bang for your buck? What has helped create buy-in? What do you love the most about what you do?
If you could bring up that photo of our press box, that would be great. One thing we decided to do after we had the press box built is kind of try to showcase what we've done, our history, our tradition. So if you look at the press box there, you'll see that we have our conference titles, regional title, sectional, super sectional, state. And I know everybody has this, that everybody showcases their talent and their success. But we try to put a little different spin on it. We call it hanging numbers, and that's something that's really important to the program. So that's from the top down, from seniors all the way down to freshmen. We talk about it. We talk about how important it is to hang those numbers. And again, it's that buy-in. It's that, this is, it's kind of that burn the boats mentality or concept where, you have no other option but to achieve success. And, so it can be intimidating at times too when other teams come in, which is great and all, but more importantly, we decided to do something a little different the last few years. And instead of me getting up on a ladder and screwing in the number, I decided, in fact, it was one of our coaches said, why don't we have the kids do it? So what we have done the last few years is right after we win, hopefully we win a regional or a sectional or what have you. We take the bus right back to the field. If we're on the road or if we're at home, we get the ladder out and everybody goes up and gives one turn of the screwdriver,
awesome.
Into the year that's going underneath whatever category. And, the kids love it. I mean, it's a big part, again, of what we are. And it's that culminating activity or that rallying cry again. Let's tank some numbers this year, fellas. And it just kind of has grown into this pretty special thing for our program. And again, freshman to senior year, my coaches preach it. I have great coaches. I'm so proud of who they are and how much they help our players, and they preach it. It's important that the parents know it. Other teams know it. Other schools know it. And it's just a pretty cool thing that kind of just started growing. And we've been very fortunate to have some success over the years, like a lot of you guys have had. And it's something that I'm proud of it. I'm proud of how it looks, and I'm proud of the fact that, the old brick by brick mentality, and, we did this together. So it's been a lot of fun being a part of it. And I hope we have to put some more numbers up there very quick. Unfortunately, there won't be any 2020s, which is horrible for all of us. But thanks again for allowing me to showcase that.
Hey, that's my pleasure, man. I remember back in the day when that press box only had a couple numbers on it. So it's really strange to see it in this shape. It's been 10 years since I've been removed from over there. It's remarkable to see what those kids have accomplished over there, man. Absolutely remarkable. Coach Harris, same question goes to you. What's been your favorite thing, so to speak?
Well, I have a lot of favorite things, but probably one of my more favorite is Coach Chaffin. He's not going to come because we're going to do an overnight retreat, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm not as old as he is, but I stay with him. And what we do is I've actually tried to not do this, and I told the guys, hey, this is what if we don't do this, or what if we do something else, and the players won't let me not do this. We call it a retreat. It's we do it the weekend before we start our scrimmages, so it's in February. And basically what I do is we have different sessions that we will talk about different things. And what I found out this year is the boys are telling me how much pressure they have on them, pressure from their parents, pressure for to get an offer, pressure to be in this lineup or that lineup, pressure. There's this pressure. So we one of the things that we did is we had a resiliency training by the Army. And these guys, they were awesome. They come in and they talk to us about what real pressure is and how you can handle pressure. And they gave us a couple things that will help us. And then I bring, like Coach Moseley, like you said, I bring some successful people and parents in my program. I have a successful businessman that will talk about work ethic, and he talks about how he built his business from ground up. I talk about we had a State Farm agent that talked about leadership. It's a super leader, and he was awesome about he knew these boys, and he talked about the leadership that he wanted to talk to them about. And then I had one of my moms. She's a wrestling mom, and she talks about toughness, and she talked to the kids about what toughness looks like at her house and what toughness she'll look like on the field. And these were all our program people. And so we do the deal where you see right there toward the end of the night, I got this at a business seminar, and basically we get them in a circle and we're just talking to them. And then I pick 8 or 10 guys to stand up and I have everyone else kind of like you're at church. I have them to kind of bow their head and close their eyes, and we walk around, and I'll say, okay, touch somebody that inspires you. And so you'll walk around and you may just touch someone on the head or on the shoulder, and you touch as many as you want to touch. And then I say, okay, touch somebody that encourages you. Touch somebody that you can see being the president of the United States. Touch somebody, and I can just go on and read this list, and we interchange, and that's really been really powerful, because some of you guys are going to be touched a lot. And then, you know what? Some of you might not be being touched very much. And there's some really cool things there. There's some really positive things there. And we do goal setting. We talk about our 68, we talk about what that is and how we're going to accomplish that. And we talk about not being scared to dream. Well, I show them the Susan Boyle video with the Britain Got Talent thing. If you've ever seen that, we show that video about not being scared to chase our dreams. We show the Pursuit of Happiness video where, he talks to his little boy about, don't ever let anyone tell you can't do something. Not even me. If you want something, you go do it. And then we show the Coach Carter video where he's going to take the chain off his doors, and he goes in to gather his stuff. And the players say, Coach, they can take the chains off the door, but I mean, we're here. We're going to do what you tell us we're going to do. We're going to see this thing through. And so we show them that, and we do these whatever sessions we want to do. And from year to year, I change the sessions. This year we needed to do one on pitch calling because we just needed it. We needed to this year. And different times I do different things. And that's what we do. We have Mike Gundy has come, and we do a thing we call the safe seat. If you were at the ABCA a few years ago, you heard him talk about the safe seat, and we do the safe seat. And I'll have different people come in, and we spend the night. I feel like the boys stay anywhere they want to stay, and they all stay together. And that's powerful. And the parents will come in, and they provide food for us, and we do the lip sync and the dancing. And during the time, we have my daughters on the pom team, so all of our girls, I will get them to be coaches for my teams that I select, and I select how I want them to do it. And they go through and they work hard, and I give up baseball time for this, and we'll practice dancing, and we'll practice things, and we get them out of their comfort zone. Let me see some of you guys get up and dance real quick. You probably don't want to do that.
No.
But they okay, go ahead, Coach.
Oh, no, I'm kidding.
And so we ask them to get out of their comfort zone, and so we do some stuff where we work hard, and we tell them that we want them to do this, and man, they get out of their comfort zone, and it's not easy for some of them. Mike Gundy's boy Gage, he told me, he said, Coach, do I have to do this? And I said, man, you really do, buddy. And he's like, man, I really like baseball. And I'm like, you got to do this. And we all do this. Jackson Holiday, Matt Holiday's boy. They do these things, and it's something that we think helps them. We think this is an event that right before the season, we're getting ready to start this grind and this run that we're going to try to get on and maybe go win a championship. And we believe that this is something that all of them, the parents, the players, and the whole baseball family, this is something we get to do, and it brings us together. We learn a lot of information, and it's basically your church revival before you start the season is what we do.
It's awesome. Coach, thank you for sharing. And just to give you, you're not saying this, I'm giving you a little pat on the back. Just so y'all know, when Coach is talking about some of these activities, this man took over a high school baseball program that ain't won a state championship in 57 years. And in year one, they win a state championship. So wow. This stuff, it's about developing people, but it's about developing people through a common goal to achieve a goal, to win. There's a large section of coaches out there who think a lot of this stuff is kind of hogwash, balderdash, eyewash, kumbaya stuff. And this is about teaching people to achieve as a group. And it's stuff like this that ties people together. Just like this group. There's a couple of you guys I haven't met before. And now when I see you in Washington, D.C., assuming the convention is still on, we're going to be like buddies because we've had this interaction, this group dynamic. I think this stuff is extremely valuable. So Butch, maybe you want to try some of those overnights or something. I'm just saying. I don't know. Now, Coach Moseley, you had one of the more unique team building idea things, and I'm gonna pull it up here. And I don't have video of it, but I'm like, man, this is sure genius right here, the spelling bee.
Yeah.
And you got 4 guys up here in this corner, and they all look like they are lost as heck trying to spell something, especially the dude in the orange shirt. But what are some of your favorite team building activities that you guys have done?
Man, I first of all, genius at no point needs to be applied to that picture. The word is incorrect. But Jimmy, I think if you'll look closely, that guy on the left, he looks a lot like Gundy. You know, that mullet is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
I can't believe Gundy's kid is even remotely scared of being embarrassed with that when he got that his dad's mullet.
Come on, coach.
No, seriously, Jim. Like the thing that spelling bee and everything was just part of it. We just like Butch was referencing before. He does a wonderful thing. We do a challenge at the end of the winter, just getting ready for. It's called people call it the Montgomery Challenge. Whatever. We just have baseball Olympics, and we decided to have some knowledge-based stuff in there. And the words that were given we're not talking about 6-syllable words here. And these guys were struggling. It was awesome to watch it. But I think to kind of carry on with what you're saying and your question about, just what are we trying to do here? All we're trying to do is live life with our kids. It's as simple as that. That's what I want to do. I think I've been blessed by God in terms of the fact that my timeline of being a coach lines up with my timeline of being a parent. I was married my first year as a head coach, and then we came back from our honeymoon and started practice the next day, which is a little weird. But most of my players have seen my kids from very young, and I think they need to see us be dads. I think they need to see us screw up. I think they need to see us model how to fix screwing up. And that's why, that's that Christmas picture right there. Like, they need to come to your house. Like, if they haven't been to your house, I think that there's something wrong there. To me, like that's just my philosophy on it. And that room is way too small to hold that many guys. And it smelled really bad by the end of the night because everybody's just in there sweating and having a good time or whatever. But, we have a dirty Santa involved in there and all that kind of stuff. And just live life with your kids, I think, and live life with your players. And then what's going to happen is they're going to give you everything they got. And part of us living life is being open and honest with them about stuff that may be going on with us, but still doing your job every day, right? Like that picture in the bottom right, our weight room, we absolutely blow it out like a lot of guys talk about doing. I don't know if we work harder than everybody else or not. I don't care, really. I care that we work hard enough to get us better. But I know we're going to do the work every day, no matter, and they're going to know I've dealt with something. Like right now, my dad's got cancer. My players know about that. He just got diagnosed with cancer. They know about that, but they need to see me coming to work every single day while I'm dealing with that. Yeah. Or if my wife and kids are dealing with something, I'm going to tell them. But one of the proudest moments I've had as a coach was earlier this year. My father-in-law was at a game. And he's dealt with some stuff, and my players knew about it. And so a couple of them went over to him and said, "Hey, Mr. Rowland, it's really good to see you at our game today." That made his year, right? That's awesome. That's team building to me. That's life building. I don't really care about team building as much as I care about life building. And you build somebody, turn them into a better man, and it's going to get paid back to you a long time down the road for sure.
None of that.
No doubt. That's awesome, gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Now we are at basically our closing time here. So I'm going to give us one final question. I mean, maybe you can pick. If you don't like the question, go with whatever the heck you want to throw out there. But I'm very curious, and Coach Moseley, you maybe addressed it, but I want to know what's your favorite part about your culture, about your guys, what your job, however you want to take that. What's your favorite thing? Coach Saunders, we'll kick it off with you.
Yeah, for me, I just like spending time with them. I'm a teacher, I'm a coach. During the day, whether they need me or not, I want to check up on them. I just want to spend time with them so they get to know me better, so they can trust me. So when I actually try to do things to help them, their parents know that I'm doing the best. May not be what they agree with or what they want, but they know it's going to be something that can help them. So I'm just looking for, like I said, that relationship. I want that relationship where we're tight. We're not best buddies, but you know what? We're friends for life. And
Mhm.
I count on you and you can count on me. Years back when I was at Indiana University, I heard Bobby Knight say, I don't want guys that I need to take care of. I want guys that can take care of me, as he gets older. Now he's in that position. He needs that, and I may do that someday, but it's that like, you know what? I'll help you all I can, guys. There may be a day that I need help. I hope not, but that relationship to me is just key. And I want to spend times to get to know each other better. And that way, more how you can help them, and not just now, but down the road.
No doubt. Thank you, Coach. Butch, what's your favorite part?
After practice when they're walking out, and my office door, when it's open, I can see our back door and it goes to the parking lot. And just for them to take a second and go, love you, coach, or later, coach, or I'm out, coach, or deuces, or whatever they say. Just for them to think enough of me to tell me, hey, I'm leaving now, which is what most people do when they leave their house. They tell their mom and dad, love you, be careful. And I always say something like, hey, be careful. Hey, I appreciate you. Hey, love you. Hey, come back tomorrow. Hey, please come back tomorrow. Or something. But yeah, when it's over, that's when it's real. Before practice, they're kind of nervous because they know it's about to go down and there's some learning going to take place. But just that few seconds at the end, that energizes me for the next day.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Ganks, what about you? Favorite part about your culture, or whatever you want to say?
Well, again, I'm going to piggyback off of what everybody else is saying here. It's the relationships, just developing those, growing them, watching kids mature and be able to handle adversity. Again, I'm a quotes guy. The road to a championship always leads through the town of adversity. So just getting them to understand that everything's not perfect. And as much as we want it to be, as much as we want it to make it perfect for them, it's not. And the more they realize that, the more they lean on you. That's where that trust comes from. That's where that responsibility piece and accountability, all the buzzwords that we want to throw out there, that's where it comes from. And when we're vulnerable and they understand that we can still manage, I think that role modeling is really important. And, going through this pandemic, I'm sure, I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but I miss the game. I miss the kids. I miss, being there every day. I actually miss pulling weeds on the field, which I never thought I would say. But, I just miss everything. And, but the centerpiece is the kids and the coaches. And you miss that daily interaction. And like Coach has said, the goodbyes and the hellos and, hey, coach, how was your day? And, hey, did your daughter pass her driver's test or whatever the deal is? My daughter just got her license. So that's another issue. Yeah, JR, she's 16, crazy. Man. Crazy.
I remember teaching her how to drive the golf cart.
Right. And that wasn't very good either. So, so again, just that relationship and that vulnerability and where kids come up to you and give you a hug and just say, Coach, thanks, because I really appreciated your mentorship. And, that to me is what means more than any wins and losses, any trophy, any plaque. It's when those kids really trust you and come back. And I think one of the coaches mentioned, you see the birth of their child, or you see them graduate in college, or you see them getting married. I mean, those are the things that mean more to me and to us as a collective group than any win or loss will ever do.
That's awesome. Thank you, Coach. Coach Harris, what's your favorite part about Stillwater's culture?
I think everything that's been said. I love the phone call I got the other day from one of my players that told me he got an offer the other day and he wanted to thank me for pushing him and thank me for this or that. It might have been the text message I got from one of my dads that has rent houses, and he was showing a rent house to some OSU students. And in our program, you have to use manners. I know some of y'all may not believe in that, but I do. We say, and I say yes sir and no sir to my players. I say yes ma'am and no ma'am to my manager girls. We shake hands when they see me every day. When they come in to see us coaches, we shake hands. When they leave, we shake hands. Sometimes Coach Chaffin, we like you, we hug. I mean, we we love each other, and it's okay if we do those things. But the message I got from this dad that said, I kept asking this young man or these young men questions, and they kept saying yes sir and no sir, and I knew there was something different about them. And when I asked them if they were from Stillwater, they said yes sir, we are. We graduated at Stillwater High School this particular year. And he said, well, did you do any sports? And they said, yes sir. Again, they used the word yes sir. I played baseball. And he just immediately, that was a big moment to him, because he's like, his son's going to be a junior for me this year. And he said, what you're instilling these boys, they don't even know what you're doing, but it's awesome what's happening. And it might be the picture, like you guys said, that I got of a little baby girl that one of my young men had. They had a baby a few weeks ago, but it's the collection of those things that I get when something cool happens. That these guys, we're in the COVID right now, and I'm driving down the road the other day, and all of a sudden 3 guys are just yelling and waving at me, and I get closer, and then it was 3 of these guys, and we pulled over, and we're not supposed to do this, but we get out and we hug, because I miss those guys. And maybe that's what it is, but I think that's what our culture is we love them. Hopefully they love us, and I learned a lot from you guys today. I've written down a whole bunch of stuff that I'm going to do, things I'm going to try to implement, and I appreciate you guys for helping me. You made me better today, and I thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you for doing it, Coach. Thank you. Coach Mo, final thoughts. What's your favorite part of your culture that you've established over there at Hoover?
Well, I don't think it's just exclusive to here, and I don't think I'm necessarily the reason it's been established. I think at Grissom, where I was, it's the same thing. I think my favorite part of being a coach is watching kids. When you really see them several years later, and they're able to make decisions that go against the grain, that make them stand out. You can either float along with society, or you can swim back against it and make your own decisions, and that's what I want to see them do. Basically. But maybe my favorite story as a coach was at when I was at Grissom, and we had a basketball coach who had a heart attack in school, and he had like is one of those aortic ruptures, and like it's the widowmaker, like you're supposed to die. And so, interestingly enough, though, the paramedic that came to work on him played basketball for him. The ambulance driver that drove the paramedic played basketball for him. The heart surgeon that worked on him played basketball for him. Wow. That's what you're trying to create. People that are nectons, that don't swim with the current, but swim against the current, and people that they're not just participating in life, but they're like meekly, but they're actively participating in life. They're actively trying to make a difference. And when you get to see that later on in life, I know Coach Saunders said it earlier, and multiple people have, but you get to go to a wedding, you get to see somebody's baby born and that kind of stuff. And that's when they tell you what really meant to play for you. You really know at that point, maybe your program might have been okay. Or you hope it is, but those are the times when it really matters. And you hope to see that at that point when it really mattered, that you were maybe a small part of them getting better.
Awesome. It's awesome. Thank you, Coach. Now, Coach Saunders, first off, I want to congratulate you on a phenomenal coaching career. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, I'm going to flip it up here again, but the picture in the bottom right of this screen, those are all Coach Saunders rings. This guy is in everybody's Hall of Fame. He has worked tirelessly for this game across the country, internationally, with USA Baseball, all over the place, gold medals, everything. Coach Saunders, I want to congratulate you on a phenomenal career and give you the opportunity to have the last say, so to speak. Anything you want to touch on? Any advice for those guys who were kind of struggling to put it together, for those guys who are just starting their coaching career? Anything you want to share?
I'd make it real quick, but you know what? You're only in the bottom line. You're only as good as your talent. You can influence, you can do a lot of things, but you're really bottom line only as good as your talent. And it's a process. It's nothing you can make overnight. It's going to take a long time to accomplish some of the goals that you want to get to where you want to be. But like we're saying with this COVID, don't give up. Just keep working. Don't accept no for an answer. It can't be done. It can be done. And it can be done at a different scale, but it's a slow process. Just like our season is a process. you're not as good in the first couple games as you're supposed to be in the last couple games. You know, and I run marathons. So to me, it's a marathon. A season's a marathon, but a career is a huge marathon. So as you're looking at people's facilities and what they've gained and what they've done, hey, you can't do this in 1 year. This is a long-term vision. And some of your players as freshmen, guys, this is the vision. We're getting you ready for 18 years old, not here at 14 years old. This is the beginning. So you got to stay with us. But, you know, I've always said that every coach, whether you have a son or daughter, whether you're a mom or dad coach, you deserve to have your son or daughter to be good. And luckily for me, I didn't mention my wife yet, but my wife was an All-American swimmer at the University of Tennessee.
Wow.
For 1 year. Then she transferred to Indiana, was an All-American swimmer there at Indiana. So my kids were good athletes, not because of me, but because of her. They got the genes from her. So I'm going to give her all that credit. But my son ended up being a very good high school player. He was a 3-sport guy, captain in 3 sports, all district in 3 sports. Wanted to be basketball, but he was 5'10", 155 pounds when he graduated from high school. He ended up going to Ohio State. And because of what we're trying to teach all of our kids, got a little bored, went there as a student, was not recruited in football at any level, ended up getting invite to walk on. And was a walk-on for 2 years. His 3rd year, he got put on scholarship. His 4th year last year, his 5th year in college, he was named captain of the Ohio State Buckeyes football team. So it's the guy, it can be done. And hopefully what I've tried to get across to all of our kids, it kind of shows with my art. And I know you guys talk about being tough on all kids. You're probably tougher on your own kid than most. But we separated. I never chewed him out any more than I would have anybody else. I never made him run anymore. He's just a motivated guy, and he did it on his own. So it's been great for my family, for our entire family. It was a dream come true that he could never play there, and all of a sudden now he's playing. Right now, he got hurt before his first game last year. They've applied for his 6th year to come back, so he may be back. But they've also talking now there may be some NFL possibilities. So sometimes we get lucky. But you know what? Again, don't give up. Just keep working. Encourage all your kids. Follow your dream. Just like coaches, follow your dream. Will you get that many rings? Will you get that opportunity? You know what? Don't even worry about it. That's just icing on the cake. Just do what you can. Meet people. Have fun as you go. And it makes life so much more interesting and enjoyable. And someday, all you coaches, I'm coming down your area. We're going fishing. We're going to hunt. We're going to do whatever. Or maybe go to Alabama football game or a Tennessee football or baseball game. So, you know, life has been good to me. And like I said, after 40 years, to me, this is just a long rain delay. We're still waiting to play again, and we'll do that soon. But I'll be in a different aspect, waiting for that rain to clear up.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, again, Coach, congratulations, and thank you very much for doing this. That's all the time we have for this evening, folks. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to our panelists, our production team, PEC Network, and our sponsor, Pocket Radar. These are the guys that made this happen. If you missed something or clicked into the conversation a little bit late, this episode will be available on demand within the Coaching Resource Library section of our website and our My ABCA mobile application within about 24 to 48 hours. This is our 7th episode, so you can also find the previous 6, culture, hitting, pitching, game management, all in our ABCA resource library. Make sure to tune in next week as we'll discuss hitting approach with Darren Everson, the hitting coordinator from the Colorado Rockies, Rudy Garbalosa, head coach, Lynn University in Florida, Chris Hart, the associate head coach at North Carolina State University, Link Jarrett, head coach at the University of Notre Dame, and Ronnie Prettyman, the hitting coach at the University of Washington. On behalf of everyone here at the ABCA, our board of directors, our executive committee, Craig Kylitz, John Litchfield, Juan Clark, Zach Hale, Matt West, Sarah Barlock, Ryan Brownlee, and Mike Odom, thank you and stay safe out there.
Tonight's episode of ABCA At Home Perspectives is made possible by Pocket Radar. Pocket Radar's smart coach app system, with its unique ability to automatically capture videos with embedded velocities, allows coaches to stay connected and work remotely with current players and new recruits. Their Bring Your Training Home initiative will provide education and resources, including webinars and a limited time discount to help players remotely train, develop, and be seen at home with video analysis tools. Check out their 2020 Expo Theater presentation located in the ABCA Video Library.